Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Crypto. Happy birthday to you. That might get cut, but hello and welcome to Literature Science Alliance, and I'm Angela, and today I am doing the You Ain't Getting Older book tab for Crypto from Codex Cantina. These guys, they run an awesome channel where they do some deep dives in more literature analysis style, which is nice for me because I don't usually look at books through that lens. I've kind of been scared of doing that ever since I was in high school, and it's great. They have these Monday short story discussions, so you spend 30 minutes reading a story and then you're in the discussion, and I love those videos. Deanie also does that on her channel for short works for science fiction and fantasy specifically, so I highly recommend checking those out, and I love those things. But let's get into the tags. So, number 1. While it's proven too many birthdays can kill you, the amount of cake we can eat is still under debate. Name the most recent book that gave you a sugar or book high. And I'm going to give you 3 seconds to figure it out, because you probably know, but 3, 2, 1... It's The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I read this last weekend. It is about 430 pages, and I read it in 3 days. Could not put it down, was always thinking about it, always wanted to pick it up. I had a wonderful buddy read with it, with Deanie. Oh, I love this book. I'm probably going to put out a gushing review, because I don't think I've done one of those yet, and I love it. It's wonderful. It was such a great ride, and I think I almost got a slight book hangover. It was just, so good. So yeah, in terms of a book that brought me really high, it's this one. And now, for number 2. Sometimes we get older and wider instead of older and wiser. Name the longest book you've ever read. Now, I thought at first it was going to be Words of Radiance, but it's actually apparently Oathbringer, which is this bad boy. I know I don't have the sleeves. I don't love the art on the sleeves, and I also don't think I'm going to collect these hardback editions anymore, but the reason why I say that is, if you look at my 2 copies, which one looks bigger? This one, but it's not. Apparently Oathbringer's bigger. And I guess if you don't know anything about Oathbringer, it's the 3rd in the Stormlight Archives. If you want to know how to get into the Cosmere, which is what the Stormlight Archives is about, I got a video for that. Got a whole recommendations thing. If you don't want to look at that, it is publication order. That's my suggestion. Almost always. That's how I did it. But yeah, that's the longest one I read, and the 4th one comes out this November. And I don't know if it'll be longer. We will see. Alright, so now the 3rd one. The best part about pictures is that they're always a younger version of you. Name a book that you've enjoyed more the first time you read it than the second. Now, this was hard for me, because if I reread a book, I almost always like it as much, if not more. But I think I'm going with Uprooted by Naomi Novik. That said, still really liked it the second time around. But I think there were a couple things that led to this. One, the act of discovery the first time through was so awesome for me. I read this book in 2 days, 3 days maybe. I don't know. It was a very quick read. I got to open it as my extra Christmas Eve gift. And so I read half of it Christmas Eve night. So I was just enthralled with this book. And I read it again as a comfort read when I was feeling kind of down in a bad point of my life a few years ago. And I still really enjoyed it. It did the job of distracting me, but I don't think I loved it as much. And I can't really say if that's because I didn't get to discover anything for the first time or if it's because of the state I was in. So that's what I'm going for this one. And now, number 4. As you get older, you must learn to never skip a bathroom break before jumping in a car ride. Name a book you read in very few sittings. So, this was hard also, because I think very rarely do I read a book, all at once. So, I was going to go with Red Rising. That's actually what I have written down on my piece of paper. Because that's the one I read in 2 days, because I flew to the Dominican Republic, and this was on my Kindle, so obviously I read it on my plane ride, which is 4 or 5 hours, and that almost finished the book. But I am now remembering that I finished The Martian in 1 day. And that's The Martian by Andy Weir. There's a movie for it. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a very good book. Highly recommend this book. I'm saying that because I'm pretty sure my answer To the next question is a different Andy Weir book, but let's see. Don't let old age get you down, because it's harder to get you back up these days. Name a book you had to put down and why. Yep, so I love The Martian. Read The Martian. I had to put Artemis down. I've picked this up last month hoping for a really good, engaging book that I couldn't put down, like The Martian, and I just could not stand the female protagonist in this book. She was just a jerk for no reason. Her inner monologue was really petty and obnoxious, and I can handle that if it improves, and I asked my friends, it does not improve. And then the plot wasn't as interesting to me, at least what I saw from it. It seemed like it was going to be a heist-ish plot, and a heist for me is only good if I like the characters, and I didn't like the main character. So, that's why I had to put this one down. Now, number 6. Age isn't how long you've been alive, it's how many lives you've lived. What book genres have you been wanting to try outside of your comfort zone? For me, this would have to be thriller and horror. I don't read many of either of these books, at least in their own genre. Sometimes I'll have a genre blend thing, like some people think Recursion is a thriller, and I've read that recently. I know for me, The Great Alone felt very domestic thriller to me, but I've not read anything in those genres, and I would like to. I'm really not sure when. It's not high on my priority list, but I would like to give it more of a go because I would like at least a thriller. Horror, I'm still scared of. Last horror I read was Salem's Lot back when I was in high school, and I stopped halfway through when the girl was going to go in the creepy house, and I was just like, nope. All a bunch of nope. So yeah, I'm kind of a baby, so I don't know how much I'll ever get into horror, but we shall see. And then 7. Life gets worse the older you get. Luckily, you don't have much left. Name a book that slowly turned sour for you, but you finished anyways, where you're glad you stuck it out. And I've got 2 for this. One is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by, I think, James Marlin. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry, because he deserves respect. Because this book is good in terms of it should be in, it should exist in literature. But in terms of what I wanted from a fantasy book, it just was not it for me. I read all 600 of those pages and I did not connect with those characters. The one character relationship I liked was done dirty. And then it's a traveling plot, which isn't for me, and it was also very confusing. You could read one page, and on that page, it's very hard to tell if you're on the same day, week, month, year. Like, the passage of time in this book is very hard to grasp, and I'm usually pretty okay with that, but it's just, you're giving nothing. That coupled with a writing style that is definitely more literary, which is hard for me, just meant I don't feel like I gained much by finishing this book other than having this opinion. So I guess that's something. And the second one is called Unholy Consult. This is the 4th book in a second series of a big world. So I know on Reddit people talk about this, but this is the Prince of Nothing trilogy's sequel. It's not a trilogy, but, it's the Aspect Emperor Quartet. And this is the grimmest of grim, dark things I've ever read. It's grotesque, it's really gross, and it's really dark. And I was liking it. Like, I like the Prince of Nothing trilogy, and I like what we're exploring in this quartet. But this 4th book, I feel like the editor quit. Like, I don't know, it's really long, and it's really drawn out, and I don't know how it's the end of something, and I don't understand it. And so I really don't like that I've stuck this out because it's 7 books. I've read 7 books in something that's not even really my comfort genre or something I usually read, and I'm really confused, and it was really gross. So, yeah. Number 8. Peer pressure seems to decrease as you get older. Where did all your friends go? Name a book that you checked out because of peer pressure. Were you happy to have tried it? And again, I have 2. I've got Wheel of Time because of booktube pressure, and The Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb from a friend peer pressure. And I do feel that I like both of these, but I do not love either of these yet, so only time will tell. I've read the Farseer trilogy for Realm of Elderlings, and I liked it, although Robin Hobb cannot let any of her characters have a good time. And then Wheel of Time, I'm actually going to be starting, hopefully, the 3rd book this month, and The third and the fourth book get a lot of good hype, and I'm just really hoping I'm on that hype train and I'm like, yes, I'm finally here. Because so far, it's been good fantasy. I cannot say it's been bad fantasy, but it's not been fantasy that resonates with me. And I also get really confused when people compare Jordan and Sanderson's writing style, because I have read all of Sanderson, and to me, it is not comparable whatsoever. I get bored while reading segments of Jordan's in ways that I never get bored while reading Sanderson, even in his slowest of slow-paced moments. So, I don't know. That's where I'm at with my peer pressure reads. And 9 is tagging friends. And I'm just going to tag Kayla from Cracking Into a Good Book and Sarah from Sarah Hart's books. These are 2 of my booktube friends who I feel like are the same age as me, or at least close enough, and so they will not be insulted by me tagging them in the "you ain't getting older" book tag. So yeah, happy birthday, Crypto. I hope it was a wonderful one. And to everyone else who's still here, comment down below any thoughts you have on the books I have brought up. Like the video if you want to make me smile, and subscribe if you don't, if you like it here, if this is a good place for you. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.